This video is sponsored by Loot Crate. Loot Crate is a subscription-based service sending you an assortment of exclusive collectibles, figures, apparel, and other cool geek gear delivered right to your door. For more information, check out lootcrate.com/JaganX or follow the link in the description below. If you decide Loot Crate is right for you, don't forget to give yourself a sweet discount by making sure you enter the promo code JaganX to save 20% off. Thanks guys, and enjoy the rest of the video. Hey guys, welcome to another session of RBTL. So this patch is pretty big. New hero Vivian. So we weren't expecting her to be, I think, super OP, but apparently she's like very strong. We'll quickly dive into this. I am strapped for time. Sagittarius Mage. So someone mentioned on stream for me that Adley 3-star as a Sagittarius Mage. So if you want to compare like the stats, you could compare there. Very low base HP, but very high speed. It looks like Adelaide has about like 110 speed, so people are estimating that she might be 115 because she's a 5-star nat 5-star, 114, 115 speed. I remember it was 6% additional stats when it's a 5-star compared to the 3-star counterpart. So I'm not quite sure. Probably 115 then. So very high innate speed. They do mention it in the video, and SR mentions it also in the third paragraph here, taking advantage of Vivian's high speed to use the skill, blah 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 blah. So it's kind of like, you know, she's gonna have really high speed. So at the moment, I'm not 100% sure how to build her because she has so much going on her kit. I think build her high speed. Oh my goodness, Terror, Terror actually just sent me a picture here. Wow, that's really small. That's really small. 115 speed, 4,378 health, and then 1,226 attack, I believe, or 28 or something like that. That's so small. Only Ant can see it. Feels bad. It's so bad. Sorry guys. But yeah, it's actually, yeah, pretty low health, decent attack though. So right now we're theory crafting, like if you can get her like really high speed, like really good damage, like really high damage, she's gonna be really crazy. She does have her S3. I'm just gonna go to it right now. Has a greater attack buff for all allies with immunity for 3 turns, which is just insane. And so, you know, if she has a greater attack buff on herself, you might not have to really, like, you know, aim for high attack, but just aim for, like, you know, maybe high crit chance, crit damage. But I'm not 100% sure how I would want to build her right now. Based on her skill sets, if you look at like the S1, for example, S1 is increase the combat readiness up to 15% if you mola it. If you critical hit, it gets it up to 25%. And because her S2 is only on a 2-turn cooldown, that combat readiness boost on the S1, it will really help, you know, relieve the cooldown and get your S2 up. I think her entire kit is so good that I don't even know, like, you know, like where to begin, really. The S2 does an AoE attack. Of course, we don't know what the damage mods are at this point, but it has a 10, 20, 30, 40% raw damage on the S2, which is really strong. But it's an AoE, so if anything over 1 times mod, she's absolutely broken. But her S2, if you kill with the S2, it does it again. So AoE damage, if you watch the video above, they have that YouTube preview there. If you watch it, you'll know like what it looks like. It looks pretty crazy. Damage is decreased every time it goes though, so every subsequent one. And it can be activated up to 3 times. So she can chain AoE 3 times. But damage is decreased every subsequent hit. So she can be an insane cleaver. She could be just a speedy like buffer, and I don't know, man. She just looks really crazy. Artifacts, we were talking about that. If she gets she gets the greater attack buff, but everyone else gets an attack buff. Oh, I see. Right, she gets the greater attack buff by herself, but everyone else gets a regular attack buff. 3-turn immunity on the S3. We're talking if she goes like debuffer mode, let's say like Abyssal Crown on the S2 would be really crazy because you have, if you can kill while you're activating it, then you can, you know, have 3 times to proc the Abyssal Crown. I think Isla Violin could be very useful as well, especially if she is really really fast. I'm just thinking about like stripping like multiple debuffs on like defense comps, let's say like C-Arm and Fallen Cecilia kind of comps, like be able to strip it up to 3 times is pretty crazy too. But then you do have to kill, so maybe Isla Violin won't work. I think Code on stream was talking about Spirit's Breath. If it was max away, like max limit broken plus 30, you could technically reduce the S3 cooldown. It's already a 5-turn cooldown if you do Mola it. And if you have Spirit's Breath, she can have, you know, like pretty much attack buffs up pretty much the entire time, which is kind of like DN. So a lot of artifacts I think right now you could use with her, and obviously I'm not thinking of everything right now, but from her entire kit right now, I think she's a must pull. I don't really like to say like, you know, you must pull, but I really think she's gonna be a game changer. Based on just like being really fast, a mage having like really annoying artifacts, having crazy AoE and also CR boost for herself, and just 3-turn immunity with attack buffs is just insane. What a good combo! What a good combo! Her artifact grants a barrier equivalent to 120%, up to 120%. I should mind that, of the attack of the caster when the caster uses a non-attack skill. I'm assuming because it doesn't say AoE, assuming it's a barrier on themselves, so it could work for herself. I was thinking it could work for Luluka as well, but I think Luluka, ideally, if you're using her as a farmer, ideally probably a Tisa Scepter right now, probably some other ones that I'm not thinking at the moment, but if it's a really high attacking mage, I mean, that barrier can be very, very good. So, you know, even though that she has a really low base HP, it might be good for herself. You know, if you're going for some kind of tankier build, like maybe like a first turn, if you're talking about like PvP, first turn like sustain, but then set up for like multiple turns after, maybe. I'm not quite sure. I would say though, if you're pulling for her, and we do have a pity banner, if you're pulling for her, because this is not a limited artifact, I don't know if this one would be like a must pull for. I think that you can wait for off banner, you can wait for eventually potentially powder rotations. So I think if you get the hero early, especially if you're free to play or have limited resources, I think consider yourself lucky. And I think the artifact is a nice to have, but I'm not 100% sure how good it will be right now. But I do say that it might have potential with her if you're again setting up for those kind of like sustain that first round kind of thing. But you have to use her S3 if it's used on her before you can grant the barrier. So if someone does like some kind of speed cleave, it's not gonna work like something like ML Cecilia's barrier, but it might be good for like a follow-up if you could survive the first initial hit. Yeah, so we got the side story. I'm just gonna quickly skip what I don't think is too important to talk about, just save time. We got this in the preview, covered this in a video yesterday. This is really cool. AP exchange, some new equipment, nice stuff, very nice stuff. Attack set to complete the current theme. We got the attack ring, we got the attack weapon, we got the attack helmet to complete it. Very good substats. Crit chance, speed, and attack, very usable, very awesome. So definitely looking forward to farming that. Connection hero, I'm pretty surprised that they made this a connection hero. Kawazu was a connection hero. He was the other new 4-star. It's interesting that they are going with connection heroes for all the new 4-star released. Of course, this means that they are pullable in the banner itself, but it does mean that they're accessible for free if you're willing to grind it. Looking at his kit a bit, because you won't really need to spend too much resources to get him. I think just grind him. I'm not gonna cover it like in too much in depth, but from what it looks like, I mean, 20% chance to get burned for 2 turns on his S1 there. I think you get up to 35 if you mola it. After awakening, the S2 increases the critical hit chance, so crit buff, for 2 turns, but then grants him an extra turn. And then the S3 has up to 100% defense break for 2 turns. So very nice to have. People are saying like it's good for like people who are like new early game, and don't have like roles covered like defense breaker, good for Wyvern because he's an ice elemental hero and he's got burn. So probably like build him like with decent speed, high effectiveness, and high damage, like high attack. And I think he would be good to go, like as like a bare bones kind of build. I think it would be pretty good, pretty good. Got the crit rate up for the rest of your heroes too, and even for himself. So I mean, I guess you don't have to go really high crit chance with him. Let's see, cooldown is 4. Yeah, 4 turn cooldown, but you get a -1, so 3 turn. I don't know though. To me, like if you have been a long-standing player, you've played for a while, I think he just kind of like he has like other heroes roles as well covered. So to me, he's very niche right now. Definitely not a very high priority to build, but like I said, if you are lacking the defense breaker role, lacking like a crit chance buffer role, definitely good to have. I think right now only C-Dom and Tywin have crit chance buff, and C-Dom only being the AoE one. So Challenger Dominion. Hall of Trials, this is a big update. So this is a new feature. Going into the battle, we can see Hall of Trials, new boss. There's a lot of things up in the air right now that I'm not 100% sure of. So we want to hopefully we'll figure it out soon. But at least in the patch notes that what I've read so far, there's some questions that remain to be answered. But 3 Book of Retribution every Monday at the reset time. It costs 120 Skystone to buy more. I'm assuming 120 Skystone is buying 3 Book of Retribution, not 1, and a limited it up to only 5 times a week. Now, you know, you might be asking, why would I buy that many? The thing is, okay, so actually I'll cover that in a bit. So yes, you want to go with higher advantage. You want to do more damage to him. As much damage to the boss as possible. So I think that they're going to rotate bosses once in a while. Kayron is going to be the first one, at least for like the next month or so. You want to do as much damage as possible. You want to rank as high as possible. I'm just going to scroll down here really quick. Rank as high as possible to get as much Wisdom Gaze as possible. Alright, so Wisdom Gaze is the currency you'll need to exchange this stuff. You think it's gonna be 1, like Labyrinth Pass? Oh man, that's so expensive. That's really expensive. If it is 1, feels bad, man. You can practice the battle. All right, this is very important to note. You can practice the battle to see what team comps will rack you up the most damage. Now, obviously, there is RNG aspects in it. If you have like lower crit rate, if you have dual attacks going into certain fights, so practice battle, yes. Apparently you can yield. I think you can yield it because there's the pause button in the top right corner. Now this is important to note because if you kill the boss, you win. Like you end the match. Okay. If you die, I think you end the match. So regardless if you dying or you killing the boss, you're going to use up that currency. So be careful. I think this is the reason why they gave you the practice battle. So this is not like Automaton Tower, this is not like Labyrinth, this is not like, you know, Abyss, where if you lose, you don't use it. Alright, so just keep that in mind, and I think it will calculate the end score at the end of the battle, regardless if you have won or if you have lost. So yes, it says right here, all allies are defeated or when the boss is defeated. So ideally, you want to kill the boss, because you want as much points as possible, and then you want to also go with the weaknesses of the boss, etc., in order to rack up the most points. All right, so he has multiple phases. I won't get into that because we're gonna figure it out as we're fighting it. Now, my question that needs to be answered is that I'm more worried about these exclusive equipment being time limited. Now, it's not mentioned here, but it is noted that after this round of exclusive equipment, when they have introduced new exclusive equipment, you can craft the old exclusive equipment. So Chloe's, Rose's, Destina's, and Wander Silk's in the Alchemist Steeple. Now, in the previous patch notes, or not patch notes, but the preview notes, they did say that you use the exact, like you're using these exclusive equipments to be able to craft the new ones. When you craft the new ones, you can select a skill, whereas if you buy them on the initial like shop release, like what we see here, what we'll experience in week 1 here, it will be a random skill, random stat. Okay, so keep that in mind. So we have a preview, I think it's down here. So like for example, like this. So this person's got Wander Silk. You can see that there's a random skill on the image icon there. Random skill on both and random stat. So that's what's going to be like after you buy it on the initial purchase. My question is that if it is time limited, how much resources do we need to dump into this to farm it? So this is what I'm saying. Ideally, you want to complete every single round with triple S. I think that would be probably the most beneficial. I think if you don't get triple S and if you can yield it, I think. I really do think that's the case. You want as much as possible, so you don't want to spend as sky stones or whatever. The least amount as possible. The other thing is to note that what skills you desire for that hero. So really study the hero skill set and see which skill really benefits for your style of play. Because luckily, if you get the max stat version on your purchase with the skill you want, you don't need to farm it anymore. So that's the good part about it. So it's a bit of RNG. So some people might have really good RNG. Some people might have really bad RNG. But regardless, it might be good to farm multiples as well. Because as you can see, if you can keep multiples, I'm assuming that eventually, perhaps you can swap it. So let's say like for a certain fight and you get like the max speed, let's say on Wander Silk, max speed on like all 3 skills. Ideally, that would be the best case scenario, because then in every single fight, every single situation, you know that you would have the best gear going forward or going into the fight. So it's going to be very interesting going into GVG with this stuff, going into like arena. It's just a lot of really cool expansion. So anyways, that's my question, is the stuff in the shop going to be limited, or are they going to be adding new, and eventually you're going to have hundreds and hundreds of exclusive equipment? I have no idea. It's not said right here. And again, how many exclusive equipment does it take to craft one in the Alchemist Steeple? We don't know. Does it take 1? Does it take 5? We don't know that right now. I would definitely love to learn about that. So I guess maybe we might have to wait till this first rotation is complete before we see it. I'm gonna quickly scroll down here. What interests me is this. So Arena Protector Timer, Punishment Timer is now available. So now instead of like guessing, I'm gonna die to punishment, you can realistically know, as the turns go down. So I really love that. I love that aspect because it will really help. I think there was no reason to keep it like ninja stealth, but it's really good. And then yeah, I think for this patch note, I'm gonna end this here. Again, I said I was strapped for time. Anyways, back to the main banner at hand. I would recommend. I mean, right now to me, she seems to be like more OP than someone like Seaside Bologna. And Seaside Bologna was limited. I think her kit is incredibly strong. Seaside Bologna is already really good, as people have gotten to experience her in the past like 2-3 weeks. Seaside Bologna is really good. Very annoying to deal with, and I think Vivian might be a different aspect to that. Not the same, obviously, but very, very good. The thing is, though, she is not a limited hero, but you do have a pity, the pity system activated for her. So I would definitely recommend trying a couple for her if you have limited resources, and obviously if you have the resources, I would go for it. I can imagine her on so many team comps that are useful for me right now. And I can't wait to build her. I'll probably make a showcase as soon as I got her built. So anyways, I'm gonna end this here. If you guys have Discord, check out the Discord server. Follow me on Twitter and subscribe to YouTube if you haven't. As always, thank you guys for watching, and I will see you guys on the next Reading Between the Lines.